Hi, Anson Garcia here, and I want to review with you the Cisco Jabber 10.5 release. That was today is the 10th, September 10th. This was released about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And we're going to review that and a couple new features, and we're going to compare and contrast with the latest version of 9.7 that was released. So over here on the left we're going to have the 10.5, over here on the right we're going to have the 9.7. Alright, 9.73 specifically. Okay, at first glance you can tell that it's, to my eyes, it's a little softer around the edges. It's a little pleasing, a little more pleasing on the eyes as far as the overall look and feel of the client when you first start it up. It also has the underneath the hood single sign-on, so SAML has been added. Now, as I understand, you would need the back end to be Cisco Call Manager 10.5, so the infrastructure in the back end needs to be 10.5, as well as the client needs to be 10.5. Now the client, the Cisco Jabber client 10.5 does not need the back end. It supports everything back to 8.x as far as CUCM and cups and things like that. So, but to use the new feature for single sign-on is, you would go to an identity provider that would provide you SAML single sign-on, and you could then do true single sign-on for your Jabber client, WebEx, Unity, IMP, and all that other stuff. So, before I launch or log in to these and show you some new features and comparisons with the old one, I want to show you one thing here that I found that is different. Obviously, you see the cog that is different than the traditional file menu on the old version, and then we also have this under file you have this reset Jabber, so that's quite neat. Used to have to go in their directory and clear the cache and do all that stuff, but this resets everything to default, so it's like wiping the Cisco Jabber out of any user cache, photo cache, service cache, meeting, WebEx meeting integration, all that stuff gets wiped out. So let's go ahead and log into both of these and continue to look at new features and compare them to the old client. Okay, first we can just see visually, again it's visually a little bit more pleasing than the old client. Definitely the old client looked a little long in the tooth, looked a little rustic, looked a little Windows XP-ish to me, and then the new client looks very Windows 8, I guess, maybe, if you want to go that far. Even looks a little bit more iOS 7-ish, maybe. That's a good way to put it. But anyway, a little bit more pleasing. The icons are bigger. I can certainly see them better. Over here I had to kind of hover. In the 9.7 I had to hover over to see exactly, what is that, calls, voicemail, there were a couple of icons that are very self-explanatory, but there's some like this one that didn't make any sense to me. But now very clear and evident what all these are here. Okay, now these are the defaults, these four here. I just have some extras integrated in, so don't pay attention to these right now. They're not anything new or anything like that. It's just an add-on from what I'm doing here in the lab. So, again, I'll let you look at that for a second, and you can see the differences look much, much better. We got this call button over here also, so I can type a URI here, like Elizabeth Swan or something like that. If I was looking up and then I could just click, right here if I wanted to call somebody, or if I typed a complete URI, maybe like, let's say Anson Garcia, at join.verizon.com. You see how that turned green? That means that there's some route pattern in the background that matched, and I can go ahead and make that call. So I could just click that to make that call right away, and that would come up. Alrighty. Anything else on its surface? This button, so to use my computer for calls or use my phone for calls, do go into phone control and my forward calls too. The menu actually is the same, so it looks like it's calling the same menu, but as you can see, the button has been moved from over here on the right hand side to over here on the left hand side in the new client. So everything nice and tidy over the left hand slide here, and then contacts and everything over in the right. Gives you a little bit more real estate on the bottom as well. Okay, so let's look at, I'm just going to highlight a few features. Personal ringtones is one of them. So in the old client, if you would go into options here, and you would go into calls, sound and alerts. See, you have very little to do here. Play sounds when receiving all chat messages, or only when receiving the first chat message. Okay, let's look at what that looks like over here. We have a files option just buried a little bit differently. Under this cog, we have sounds and alerts as well here, and you can see there's a few more options here. There's display alerts for chat messages, group chat invites, play sound for chat messages, and I think this means play sounds for all chat messages. That's the only thing I can gather there. And then now we have this new thing here that we can select a ringtone. So that's okay. I like that. Definitely changing ringtones is a personal preference, and having a softer ringtone versus the default I'm all for that. I would certainly like a little bit more granularity there. If my wife calls, I'd like it to be a distinct ring type, so I can audibly know that it's my wife. If my boss calls, that would be another one I could think of also, to make sure if I'm on another line or talking to somebody else in my office, that I can audibly hear that, know that I probably need to take the call, excuse myself from the conversation, and take that call. So that's kind of cool. Beneath the hood, you can't see these things, but hunt groups are now supported. We have call pickup groups that are supported. The video call quality, there's some improvements that have been done in the codecs to deliver smoother and sharper video calling. CPU load has been lessened. That's always a big plus with Cisco. They always fire at Link for requiring so much CPUs and so many cores for HD video, things like that. So Cisco's always usually on the cutting edge of codecs. Well, I should say after their Movi acquisition, Tamberg acquisition, and in bringing that engine into Jabber. The audio call quality G722 is now the standard on the soft client here. When you're using it in, you're using the media side or using the phone portion of the Jabber. Now, Plantronics call control. There's some APIs that have been exposed for manufacturers like Jabra, Logitech, and Plantronics. So they are taking advantage of those and making sure that you can use your inline volume controls and mute controls, and those all interact with the application itself very well. There's also some keyboards that are, I think they call it Jabber enabled, where you can get visual cues for ringing, on hold, and things like that on the keyboard itself. Self view, when you're in a video call, you can do some self view, and you can move that self view around. That was something that was in need, definitely, to shut down the self view. That was there, but to move it around is quite nice if someone's on the side of the screen or something, or they're not centered and you're trying to have a video call with them. And then the big one, I think it's the big one. I know I really was critical of Cisco for not having this early on, but now we can screen share without having to initiate a call. So it used to be when you wanted to initiate a call between two entities or two Jabber clients, when you wanted to initiate a screen share between two calls or between two desktops, rather, you had to be in a voice call or a voice video call. The concept there was that voice call needed to be up, that SIP signaling needed to be up before you added what we call BFCP, Binary Floor Control Protocol, fancy name of just saying screen share, adding another media stream to the already present voice stream and or video stream. So now you can initiate that without that video voice stream being there. So let me demonstrate that real quick. I'm going to put this away. We're going to bring up another client here that also has the 10.5 client. So we have Jack Sparrow over here with 10.5, and we have Elizabeth Swan with 10.5. And let's just initiate. Let's call from Elizabeth. Let's make a call. Also, I don't know if you saw these buttons. Those are different too. I'll highlight those in a second. We can make a call. We see the call come in over here. We can decline or answer. Pardon me. I'm sorry. Let me hang that up. I was going to show you screen sharing. I apologize. I got sidetracked there. Now, if you look here, let me initiate a chat. Is what I wanted to do. We'll initiate that chat. We get the I don't know if this is still called a toast, but it's coming from the top now. I usually call these toasts. Usually when they come up from the bottom, I don't know what they're called when they come up from the top. But I can just click that, and then I can respond to that. So now we're only in a chat, and while in a chat, let's say Elizabeth Swan wants to share her screen, and all she needs to do is hover over this button right here, and you see that the text that comes up is share screens. I can click that. I get this red button here, and I get this red border indicating that my screen is now being shared. And then Jack gets an accept or decline toast over here. He can accept that, and you can see now that we are now looking at, on Jack's PC, we can see Elizabeth's screen now. And now something additional to that. Now this was there for a little while, but again, it's in a little bit different location. If I hover over here, I have a couple of icons. I can take over screen sharing. That confused me at first. I thought I wanted to go there so I can take control or ask for control. That's not what that is. If I hit that, that's gonna be me or Jack sharing his screen. So he would take over this. He would hijack this stream that's coming from Elizabeth's screen to Jack's screen, and he would hijack that and say, no, I want to share my screen, so Jack's screen would be shared with Elizabeth's screen. Alright, but the next icon right here, that's the request control. So you can request control. You can see that's displayed to Liz over here, and she can accept. Alright, and now I can go back here, and then you can see that I can control the screen over there. What I don't see, and this may be because of my virtual environment, if you look over to Liz's screen, you don't see my mouse. You see that? You see my mouse only on Jack's screen. So that might just be a bug in my environment. So I haven't tested that, but I just noticed that that I didn't see the mouse cursor when I took control. Alright, so I'm going to stop that nonsense there. We'll bring up these, and I wanted to show you that the icons are definitely a little bit more visually pleasing and easier to understand. Let me compare and contrast them real quick. We'll put that away. Let's bring up George Washington back, and we'll bring up the old way. And you can see when I hover over, I have a call button That's all I have. I just needed to inherently know to double click to start a chat session with Jack. Okay, whereas in contrast now, over here, if I wanted to start a chat session with George, I can see that I have this little call out here, and that to me is the universal symbol for chat, and I can click on that to chat if I wanted to. Okay, that chat window is already up in the background. That's why it didn't come out. Let me show you how that works. That it's still there, and then of course I can click to chat. That brings that up, and then of course I could hover and then click to call as well. Now the client, as you can see, still has this dock. I don't particularly like this. You guys may, but anyway, it's still there. I usually always go off and turn that off. In fact, I'd be very surprised if maybe that toast that came from the top, maybe that's where that came from. Let's check that out. Let me double click Jack here, and we'll do something like that. And for some reason nothing came up, so let's try that again. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I didn't even get a visual cue at all. Again, might be a bug. This is brand new software, so anyway, we'll go past that. Oh, let's see. Spell check. I don't have Jabber deployed on a Windows 8 machine yet. I do have a Windows 8 virtual machine. I just don't have Jabber installed on it, so I can't show you. But good thing is spell check, but only enabled on Windows 8, which is a real bummer. If you're anything like me, you hate Windows 8. And they say in the release notes there's some new emoticons, but I didn't see any. If I bring up a chat window here, this is really getting a little sideways buggy on me here, so I'm going to go ahead and let's sign out of here. I'm going to sign back in. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. And I got some chat messaging going back and forth here. I can do that, and then we can see here that definitely the icons have been updated. If you look at these and contrast them to the old client, these look a little long in the tooth, look a little fuzzy around the edges and things like that. But these are definitely new and improved icons. They say they have more. I don't see more. I counted them a while ago, and I count the same amount on both of these clients. So all right, let's see here. Persistent chat rooms, that's something new. I can't show you that yet. I will in a later video. And chat room message search, that's another thing also that you can do that I can't show you here. Let's see, is there anything else I forgot? I think that is it. There's a few other things maybe I did or I didn't review, but let's just go in here, and if you don't have this client, at least I'll bring up these options, and you can pause your video if you see anything different than the 9.7. That looks the same. That's pretty much the same. Videos pretty much the same. Calls, I think, let's see, is there anything different there? You have another option, never. So when using desk phone for calls, bringing the conversation window to the front, you can do it on all calls, on video calls only, or never. Okay, so you can see status here is the same. And then sounds and alerts, we've already reviewed that, right? We have a few more options there. Privacy, the same, my domain only, things like that. Meetings, the same. That's that WebEx integration where you can integrate to WebEx, so you get the one click to escalate to a WebEx call. And then integration is the same, Microsoft Office, IBM, and Google Calendar, all that were also in the 9.7 release. Let's take a look at the IM Do Not Disturb feature. Now there's been some improvements here. I had noticed this before, didn't think much about it, but it does bother you the way things are in 9.7, and let me show you. So if you're George Washington over here is 9.7, and if he goes into, maybe he's in a meeting or something like that, and he puts himself at do not disturb. Okay, this will suppress his phone from ringing. What it doesn't suppress, though, let's take a look here. Let's send George Washington a message. See what happens there. Now just imagine you having maybe one screen and you're in a webinar or something like that, or some training, or even giving a presentation. Even though you're in Do Not Disturb, someone can continually instant message you, and this window is going to come up. So it doesn't matter if I close it and someone messages me again, that's going to come up again, even though I'm in Do Not Disturb mode. So that's not good. Let's take a look at the new 10.5. So let's put George away. Let's go get Elizabeth again, which has 10.5 client. Here we are, and now Elizabeth is going to go into Do Not Disturb mode. Okay, let's take a look at the difference here. Let's send Elizabeth a message, and you can see I get a visual cue here, which is good, but I don't get the in-your-face, pop-up window that may disturb me when I'm doing a webinar, sharing my screen with somebody in a WebEx presentation and things like that. So that's much improved as far as the Do Not Disturb feature in Jabber. So that's it. I hope this has been of some help to you guys, and thank you very much for watching.